Hey there, and welcome to the Purpose Discovery series. How to find your purpose, discover your direction, and get the fulfilled life. We've got a lot to go over today, so get comfortable, and I'm going to get through this as quickly as I can. But there's a lot to go over, but I'm super excited that you're here. Um, yeah, let's dive in. My name is Caleb Wayne Hale. I'm the founder of the Purpose Discovery series and the founder of the Purpose Mastery Group. A little bit about myself, just to kind of give you some context of what we're doing here and why. I mean, why the heck should you even listen to me, right? A lot of people on the internet. Why this dude? Last 10 years of my life, I've been living my purpose and dream life. I'm 30 years old, and when I was about 20, figured out how to find my purpose and my direction in life. And then really the last decade, I mean, I haven't had to work in a decade. I've just been doing my thing, the things that drive me, specifically as a tattooer. I've been an artist my whole life. And so when I was 20, I started tattooing and took some risks and jumped into it. And it's been an incredible journey for those of you that are out there. There's a lot of people that say they're tattooers or they're artists, whatever. So I included my Instagram account here. I don't want you to go there. I don't need you to go there. That's not the point of this. Just I didn't want to have to field any questions later where people go, oh, well, what's your IG so I can see if you're actually a tattooer. I don't care if you think I am. I'm just saying that that's okay. That's there if you need some validation. But I lived my fulfilled life for the last decade, and I now teach people like you exactly how to find their purpose and direction in life. And then I teach them how to ensure that they reach that destination. And it is possible. Here's just a little clip. I won't focus on this for too long, but that's my account there, Southwest Wayne. That's me in the picture. Some tattoos that I'm actually working on right now. So you can go there, check that out later if you want. I tattoo in Texas, whatever. But that's what I've been up to the last 10 years, doing my thing. If you're anything like me, these were kind of some of the questions that were coming up, right, before I got into tattooing. One, have you ever had any of these challenges? Have you ever felt like you were meant for more, but can't figure out what to do in life? You don't know which direction to go? Have you ever tried other books and courses on finding purpose, but never seemed to be able to figure it out, right? I know I had before I got into this stuff and really learned what you're about to learn today. Man, I tried everything, and nobody could ever give me any answers. Everybody just kind of said, "Yeah, keep going, man. You'll figure it out someday." And it got very frustrating. No matter what you do, no matter what I did, right, still feel unaccomplished and unfulfilled, no matter how hard you push. Right? Have you ever felt like that? Me too. Okay, I was actually never the best at anything. Right, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest. I played baseball for most of my life, but I wasn't the most premier athlete. I was just the skinny kid. I'm still skinny. Everybody was bigger, stronger, faster. I always saw everyone else living cooler lives, or what seemed were cooler lives. Everybody else kind of seemed to be able to figure this stuff out, and I had no idea what to do. All right, I went from job to job to job. I even got fired from a Christian bookstore. Like, you got to try pretty hard to get fired from a job where you stock shelves with books. Like, you have one job. Anyways, hated jobs. I hated work, and I was just never fulfilled. I could never seem to find my sweet spot, and I always felt like I'd never find my purpose. I was convinced of that, and it's sad. There's a lot of people that think that, and it's a depressing thing to think, but it is a reality. And if it's your reality, I want to encourage you. It doesn't have to stay that way. I'm going to show you exactly how today. But at the beginning of all this, I felt like I would never find my purpose. I always felt lost, and I couldn't figure out where I was supposed to go. And then the worst thing I think that anybody experiences when they don't know their purpose is I never felt alive, and I always felt like I was missing out on life. Always. Okay. So what happened was I got fed up with going nowhere, and I went all in and began learning how to find purpose. I started asking questions. I started reading books. I started taking courses. I started watching movies. I started anything that I could find on how to find purpose. I started talking to people who had found purpose. I made it kind of my purpose to find that out. And what I ended up finding were the 29 purpose indicators. Okay. And I learned the 29 purpose indicators. As a result of that, I discovered my purpose and direction. I quit the job I hated. I dove full time into my passions, right? Anything that I was passionate about, which at the time really was art. I jumped all in, and then I aligned my work with my purpose. Okay, and then I've lived fulfilled for the last 10 years, really. I mean, when I was 20, just dove in and figured out how to actually find my purpose and direction, and then I went all in on it. And that's what I've been doing the last 10 years. Now, some results. I haven't just been kind of tattooing for the last 10 years. It's been actually an incredible 10-year tattoo career. And I'll actually touch on that. I'll show you some more of what that looks like later in the training. But I haven't had a job in over 10 years. In fact, I don't think I could even get a job because technically I haven't had one. And if I ever go to apply, if I needed to ever apply and fill out a resume, one, I don't have a resume because I don't have any jobs to post more recent than the last 10 years. So it just kind of screws things up. So I just figured, screw it, I just won't go get a job. Last 10 years, time and location freedom. I'll talk more about that a little later. But really, ultimate freedom. I've traveled all over. I've lived in Portland. I've lived in Nashville. I've lived in New York City. I now live out in Texas around my family. It's been an incredible, incredible journey. But the last 10 years, some of the big things that really happened as a result of finding my purpose, waking up every morning with purpose and joy. And I picked the word joy there on purpose because joy is a very specific feeling in existence. It's not waking up just with a smile and pretending. I mean, it really is waking up and being stoked to take on the day. And I've done that every morning for the last 10 years. I loved what I got to do each day. Like I've said, I've traveled all over the U.S. and internationally. But more importantly, I just did what I want when I wanted. And I was able to do those as a result of finding my purpose. Okay, since then, I've encouraged and helped others to find their own purpose and direction. And now I help people like you find purpose through online training and purpose-finding methods. There's a lot to this, but it is possible. And that's what I do now. Now, I still tattoo out here in Texas. I still love tattooing. I still travel. I still do my thing. But my purpose, my focus now is to help people like you. I want to help you find your purpose. I want to help you find that sweet spot. Okay, but real quick, I want to tell you this story of Tyler Blinn. Now, the slide you're looking at is actually got this off of YouTube today. This is just a little screenshot from YouTube. Tyler Blinn, the dude you're looking at on the drum set right there. I met Tyler Blinn 3 years ago. And Tyler Blinn sat down with me, and basically, you know, my career was cruising. Things were good. I just bought a new condo, just bought the brand new Jeep. I mean, life was good. It looked really good on the outside. It was a little chaotic, but I still was just doing what I loved to do. And I only mentioned the condo and the Jeep because I was driving somewhere one time, and Tyler, who I was mentoring at the time, we got into the car, and he goes, "Man, this is so awesome that you have all this." He goes, "Your life is really, really, obviously, it's just super cool, man. You've got all this stuff. It's awesome." And I said, "Tyler, it's not about this stuff." I said, "Tyler, these what you're seeing are the rewards of finding my purpose and then building a life around my purpose." I said, "If I lost my condo tomorrow and I lost my car tomorrow, I go, my purpose still would exist. Life would still be good." I said, "So it's not about getting stuff. It's about finding that purpose. And then anything else that you get is just kind of extra." So when I met Tyler, Tyler at the time was I think it was on probation or parole, one of the two. And he had to go every week and pee in a cup for his task. He had to, the drug testing, if you don't know what that is. Basically, he had gotten some trouble with the law. There were some drug issues. I say drug issues. I don't want to paint a bad light around Tyler. I think he was just a young kid and smoked some pot, but back then it was much more severe. Anyways, so he came to me one day, and he was working part-time at this pizza joint, super unhappy, and just kind of wandering around through life. And he was young, and he just said, "Man, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go." And basically what I did was I walked Tyler through the 29 purpose indicators. I taught him what I'm about to teach you now. And as a result, a few years later, look at this video. What do you notice about this video? One, he went out, and he's an incredible drummer. But he went from probation, peeing in a drug cup, broke, not knowing what to do. I walked him through the 29 indicators. I helped him make a game plan. All right, I helped him uncover his purpose. As a result, he dove into drumming full time. And look at this video, 1,095,202 views, over 1 million views. He didn't have this. When I first met Tyler and he sat down with me, he didn't have this video. This is the result. This is an example of what can happen. Now, this isn't typical, right? I mean, I know my purpose, and I'm not a good drummer, so I can't make a video that's going to get 1 million views, and I can't promise you will either. So I just want to say that these results aren't typical, but what I am saying is that when you find your purpose and you really map out where you're going to go and you find that direction, and then you know how to ensure that you can succeed, this is the kind of stuff that can happen. From probation and drug testing to he now tours the country full-time. He's a full-time drummer in a band. His videos, if you can go to this page and see on the other, I'm not just making this up, on his other videos, he's got 40,000, 80,000 views. I mean, he's an incredible drummer, and he found his purpose and he built his dream is what he did. I'm not going to promise that by the end of this training you will know how to play drums, but if it happens, please let me know, because I should bottle this shit up and sell it, basically, is what I'm saying. If this video helps you play drums better. But that was just a little story. This is what I do now. This is an example of what I've been up to, helping people, find their purpose and figure this stuff out. And here's some things I found along the way. Okay, one, everyone has a unique purpose. And right now we live in a world of, you'll see the second one there, don't try to fit the mold. We live in a world right now where we're so used to seeing people's success and we try to do what they do. And we're constantly, so often trying to do what they do that we get stuck and we stay stuck. And the reason is that because we're trying to emulate, we're trying to mimic, trying to copy somebody else's purpose. So the person we're looking at that's successful, we go, man, I want to do what he's doing, or I want to do what she's doing. So we start to copy that, but then it doesn't fit our purpose because it's not our purpose. We're just trying to copy theirs. Every single person has a unique purpose, and when we live outside of that purpose, things get a little chaotic and they just stay stale. All right, but everybody has a purpose. So you have a purpose or multiple purposes. It's possible to have multiple. And we're going to uncover those. Anybody can do this. Anybody. Literally just follow the steps outlined in this training. Right? Anybody can do this. And there isn't just one purpose that you should be looking for. All right, we'll get into that more in a little bit, but there's not just one purpose. So this is what I found, right? And I thought back in the day, I thought that I just had to find that one thing, and that kept me from doing anything, because then I'd get scared and go, what if I picked the wrong thing? Have you ever felt like that? You ever felt like, well, I could do that, but what if it's not what I'm supposed to be doing? And so you end up doing nothing. You ever felt like that? Okay. Well, this training shows you how to get around that. This training shows you how to get around that fear and get around that staleness and that lack of movement. Okay. The truth, though, and there's nothing I can do to make you go through this training. There's nothing I can do to make you find your purpose. Nothing. And I don't care to make you either. I mean, you're either going to do it or you're not. Right? I'm not in the business of forcing people or convincing people. I just show people what works. I show people what worked for me and what has done incredibly well for me over the last 10 years. And guys like Tyler Blinn. Okay, so the time is now to figure this stuff out. Now here's what we're going to cover. 1, how to discover your purpose in life. I'm going to show you how to identify your purpose, and then I'm going to show you how to create a clear understanding of what your purpose actually looks like. I'll explain that more. But this is number 1, how to discover your purpose in life, which is the big kind of grand question of it all. Number 2, exactly what you need to do to succeed and accomplish that purpose. And I'm going to show you why most people never fulfill their purpose, even if they figure what it is. Right? I figured out what my purpose was years ago, and it's evolved and changed over the years. I have a new purpose now. It's different than it was, but finding purpose isn't enough. So a lot of people out there are looking for purpose, but they're not learning how to ensure that they actually succeed in their purpose. And I'm going to show you why most people never fulfill their purpose, even if they figure out what it is. It's very crucial that we learn that. Obviously, you want to discover your purpose, and obviously you want to know how to accomplish your purpose. So let me show you, let me teach you exactly how you identify and accomplish your purpose in life. First, though, I want to tell you a story, but I have to warn you, this story gets a bit graphic. I mean, like for real, it gets a little bit graphic. This is the story about Zach. He's on the far right. That's me, one in. I have the Love sweatshirt on. So Zach is on the far right, and that's my buddy. He lives up in Portland now, and this is a crew. We all went out to Haiti a few years back, and so this story is about Zach. Yep, and there's me right next to him. My name's Caleb Wayne Hale. Story's about Zach. And it's about to get dirty. Okay. This is the Haiti story, right? So Zach on the right and actually, this is a picture we took in Haiti. This is our version of American Gothic. I think we did a pretty good job. That's a coconut we climbed a tree and picked. And the wall behind us in Haiti, for security reasons, what they'll do is they'll build these walls and then they concrete little shards of glass on the top. So that sock in the background is oddly clean for being in Haiti. And two, looks like somebody at some point needed to jump the wall. So they used a sock because there's glass all over that. Anyways, enough about how incredible our picture is, obviously. But the Haiti story goes like this. So Zach and I had decided, his cousin ran an orphanage. And if you guys remember the tragedy several years back when the earthquake hit Haiti and really kind of demolished most of the capital, it was very, very, very devastating, very traumatizing. And the country just kind of fell apart. It was all over the news. It was chaos. Well, Zach's cousin runs an orphanage about 8 hours outside of the capital. So she said, hey, I need you guys to come here if you guys can. And again, at the time, we were both following our purpose. We were both following our passion. So we were able to just go, yeah, why not? Heck, we'll come out there. And she said, we need people to come and hang out with these kids while we go drive the 8 hours into Haiti and help get some of these orphans, because a lot of these kids now lost their parents because of the earthquake. So we went and hung out. We drank coconut milk and played soccer and ate mangoes and just kind of goofed around with the kids for a month and a half. It was incredible. So on our way there, though, well, not necessarily, let me back up real quick. Before you go to Haiti, if you ever go, you have to get immunizations. And you got to get these shots because there's just a lot of stuff in Haiti that you don't want to catch. And for your safety, they give you these immunizations, and then you're able to go. Otherwise, they won't let you go there. They won't let you out of the country. You have to show immunization records and stuff at customs and yada, yada, yada. So there was a nurse who was also in Haiti, and she had told us, all right, here's the deal. Here's these pills. And she gave us this bag of pills. And she said, these pills, you have to take these every day until they're gone, right? However many there were. And if you're anything like me, I hate taking pharmaceuticals. I don't like taking drugs. So we had talked about it and we're like, well, whatever. Well, the pill was to keep any parasites out of our bodies. So if we take the pill and we take them till they're gone, then our bodies will be strong enough to fight off the majority of the parasites that we could encounter, primarily from the water in Haiti. And so that was specifically told to us, don't drink any of the water in Haiti. We have to drink bottled water. So there are some areas where there's tap water, there's very few, or there'll be these big water storage containers that they'll use. And you'll see the kids drinking them, you'll see other people drinking them, but they instructed us, do not drink any of the water except for bottled water. It's the only thing you can drink. So take the pills every day, don't drink the water. Now, Zach is about to get totally screwed. And this is where the story gets a little dirty. So Zach and I, neither of us were big on medication. So we were like, whatever, if we get sick, then we'll take the pills. Because the pill was meant to kill the parasite. So whatever, we'll get rid of the pills, or we'll get rid of the parasite if we get sick. So we thought that would be a good idea because we are obviously doctors in our infinite wisdom, and both founders of NASA and the Cancer Research Institute of America and all these other very, very powerful positions, which we obviously are and know in our infinite medical advice or wisdom, we decide not to take these pills because obviously we know better. I mean, look at us. Come on. If these guys were handed the scalpel on the table and you needed a new heart, you would obviously let these guys cut you open, right? Obviously, look at them. I mean, look at me with that pitchfork. That's incredible skills. Anyways, so we didn't take the pills. We're we get to the Dominican Republic, which is where you go. We fly into the Dominican Republic. There is a Haitian airport, but we couldn't fly in there because of the earthquake. They shut the airport down, so we had to fly into the Dominican, stay there for about a week before we could actually we couldn't even get into Haiti right as soon as we got there. We had to wait. We ended up waiting for a week before we could get a ride to the border. It's not as easy as you'd think. You don't just hop in a car and drive in, and you also don't rent cars in Haiti. So we get to the Dominican, we're chilling there, we hang out, having a good time, and then it's time to go to Haiti. We secure a ride, we go into Haiti, and on our way, let me paint a picture for you. If you've ever been on a city bus, okay, picture a city bus, you're riding on this city bus, and you hit a little pothole. It bumps the whole bus. Now I want to take you to Haiti buses. The buses we're riding from the Dominican to Haiti, first of all, they don't have that air ride suspension like city buses do. I mean, these buses might as well have no suspension. It's possible they had zero suspension. So every pothole you hit, which is every 2 feet, the roads are crap. There's no road. It's just all pothole, right? You get lucky if you get any smooth ground. So we're bouncing around in this thing, and I get car sick, and then Zach starts to feel sick. And he goes, man, excuse me a second, I really got to go to the bathroom. So I go, all right, cool. So he gets up, goes back to the bathroom. And me and the other girl we were with, one of the other girls in the picture, we're sitting in the middle of this bus. And all of a sudden, about 10 minutes in, we're like, man, Zach, I thought Zach just had to go to the bathroom real quick, whatever. So we didn't think anything of it. 20 minutes in, Zach's still not back. 30 minutes in, Zach's still not back. But now there's this stench. I told you it was going to get dirty, okay? This is going to get nasty. There's this smell now that starts filling the bus. Now keep in mind, we're bouncing around. This isn't smooth sailing yet. We're bouncing around potholes, and everyone's trying to just kind of hang on. You can't nap, because if you lay your head down, you hit a pothole and your head smacks the window, it wakes you up. Not fun. This smell starts to fill the bus, and it gets so bad that people in the back of the bus start moving to the front of the bus. Then it gets even worse. Now the whole bus, people have their jackets over their face. They've opened up the windows to try and get some fresh air. It's awful, right? Now it's been 40 minutes. Zach still isn't back. He's been in that bathroom for 40 minutes. Then an hour goes by. At this point, there's only us in the back where we were with full face coverage, anything we could get to tie around our face, and some little kid who didn't want to move. I don't even know if he had a mom on the bus. I don't even know why this kid was sitting on this bus by himself. Anyways, so it was just us. Everybody else was literally sitting double and triple, like quadruple, in the front seats of the bus. Little over an hour later, Zach comes out of the bus. The back of the bus is completely empty. He looks around. Everybody on the bus is staring right at him. You know that feeling when you get on an airplane and everybody's already on the plane, you're like the last one, and everybody's staring at you? There's nowhere to look. You can't make eye contact with anybody. You can't get around it. It's just, hey, you got to go, find your seat, get your bag up, get down. It's always awkward, whatever. I remember the feeling. This was like 100 times worse than that, because everybody knew that it was Zach in the bathroom now. So Zach comes out, and he sits down in the seat next to us where he was sitting. And I said, man, what in the world happened to you? He goes, dude, I don't want to talk about it. I said, no, man, you got to tell me. And he was super pissed. He was actually really embarrassed about it. And he wouldn't even talk for about an hour. And I kept bugging him and trying to get him to talk, but he wouldn't. He was just tight-lipped, sealed, and he wouldn't talk about it. So about an hour later, Zach finally says, fine, do you want to know what happened in there? And I said, you bet I do. What had happened was, at one of the stops, or right before, maybe the day before, when we had gotten on this bus ride, Zach had drank some of the tap water. He couldn't find a water bottle. And here in the U.S., at most places, any developed country around the world, you don't really think about it, right? You just habitually turn on the sink and drink the water. Even if you know you're not supposed to, you still just kind of out of habit will do that. Well, he had done that. So he drank the water. And here we are on the bus, and this parasite is now wrecking Zach from the inside. So he had felt that little rumble in his belly. He ran back to the bathroom. He gets in there, and by the time he actually went back there, you ever have to go to the bathroom so bad you waited too long, and it's all you can do for just hell to not break loose before you can just like get your pants off, right? You know what I'm talking about. So that was Zach's, that was what happened to him. So he gets in the bathroom, And before he can before he can get his pants down, he lifts the toilet lid up. But have you ever been to like grandma's house and they have like those foam toilet seats, and you put it up and you let go and it just drops right back down? So this bus didn't have a foam toilet seat like grandma's, but the seat didn't stay up. So Zach reached back, flips the lid up in a hurry, pulls down his pants. In the process of pulling down his pants, the lid shut, and Zach unloaded all over the top of the seat, not inside the toilet, on the bus, on top of it. Then again, this gets graphic. He then pulls the seat back up. He's like, oh my gosh, right? He's telling this story. I can't use all the expletives that he used telling this story, but he's now let's paint the picture. He's on a bus in Haiti, roads full of potholes, trying to hold himself up in the bathroom. He just made a mess all over the seat. And keep in mind, this bathroom is no bigger than an airplane bathroom, right? There's no room to move around. There's no room to maneuver. You can't just kind of get out of the way. If you make a mess, you're just there in the, there's no room. Well, also in the process of putting that seat up and it falling back down and Zach just finally being able to let loose, Zach's shirt had fallen down behind him. So now Zach had messed his shirt. He's messed the top of the toilet seat, which is just all over the bathroom at this point. And the good thing about an airplane bathroom is the sinks actually work. This is an Haitian bus bathroom sink. There is no water in it. There's no water there's no generator on these buses. There's no water to be used. So Zach just naturally leans over to turn the sink on and no water comes out. So Zach freaks out, right? Can you imagine this? I mean, imagine the chaos, the feeling of not only that, but you're trying to not get thrown to the floor in this nasty bathroom on this bus. So Zach has to literally get stripped naked in a Haitian bus, back of the bus bathroom on Pothole Road. And the only thing he has on him is a little mini travel size pack of baby wipes. And inside a mini size travel pack of baby wipes is a maximum of about 10 wipes. So use your imagination. He's got an entire bathroom to clean, basically. He's got mess on his shirt. He has to wash his shirt the best he can with the wipes. He's got to clean the toilet seat off. He's got to clean himself off. He's got 10 wipes to do all this. And it's like an outdoor challenge show at this point. Plus, he's getting thrown around by the bus. Long story short, Zach got out of the bus or out of the bathroom and came to us. He was sweaty and he didn't have his shirt. So turns out the bathroom, the toilet, when you press the flush button, Zach said he looked down at one point when you flush it, the bottom of the bus just kind of opens up, just goes straight onto the road. So after he messed his shirt and ruined his shirt and he couldn't wash it, he did his best with baby wipes, but he couldn't wash it. So he just threw it in the toilet and it landed on the road somewhere in Haiti. So again, I told you it was going to get dirty, it was going to get gnarly. But that's the story. That's the Haiti story of Zach on the bus as a result of drinking the water and getting the parasite, and then the chaos that ensued as a result. So every window on that bus was opened up. Eventually, the stench cleared out, and we were well on our way, and we were able to get Zach a new shirt, luckily. So that's the chaos of the Haiti story. Right? Let's go back to the nurse. Okay? Remember what I told you about the nurse. The nurse said, hey, here's the pills. Take these. Trust me. Take them. Right? It's in your best interest. This is going to help you. And we've all met people like this nurse, haven't we? People in our lives smarter than us who have taught us incredible things and helped us become better and smarter and wiser. So this is where we bring it all the way back. All that chaos about Zach, the Haiti story, the chaos that he went through, he was warned. We were warned by this nurse, right? There are people in our lives that we run into, that we meet, that we've known for a long time, that are smarter than us, and they teach us how to be wiser, right? People that teach us the right things we need to make our life and journey easier, right? We're incredibly grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for the experts who taught me over the years, who taught me the value of being humble and taking risks and learning from them, because it made my journey much easier, right? Learning from them, they went through the hard work. Now they're teaching me, and they go, hey, if you'll just do this, it'll make your journey much easier. And I'm so thankful for those people. Okay. Now, before we move on, I want to go back and real quick talk about this nurse for just another second. But the whole point of that, the whole point of her giving us those pills was, hey, she knew that would happen if we had the water, right? If we had taken our pills like we were supposed to, we were told Zach would have never gotten sick on that bus, even if he had drank the water. But we decided we knew best. And so it made our journey much, much more difficult. But it didn't have to be like that if we had paid attention and listened to the person who knew more than we did. Right? Now, we got the Haiti story out of the way. We got the chaos. Let's move on. Now, remember, I told you I'm going to teach you these 3 things. Okay, 1, how to identify your purpose. 2, how to accomplish that purpose. And 3, how to ensure that you can accomplish that purpose. And we're really going to touch on, it's really the first 2. The third I put there really is just to kind of emphasize the fact that there is a way to ensure that you can accomplish your purpose. But before I dive into these, okay, a lot of people don't understand the process and what it takes to actually find their purpose. So let me help you understand it, because a lot of people out there are making tons of mistakes. They're trying to find their purpose by doing things that don't work and by following old advice that doesn't work anymore. Okay? Here are the few of the main holdups that are keeping people from their purpose and finding direction in life. Just like Zach, if he'd have taken the pills and done things right, he wouldn't have had to go on that crazy journey. His journey could have been much easier, right? So here's a few of the main holdups that are keeping people from their purpose and finding direction in life. Okay? What holds people back? First of all, the first thing that holds people back is the idea that each person only has one purpose and therefore only one direction. And I touched on this a little bit earlier. There isn't just one purpose and one direction. Right? And I'll explain that later, but this is a myth. The idea, I thought this way forever. And boy, was I wrong. Once I actually started to learn what my purpose was and figure out my direction, I figured out, oh my gosh, this is an incredible thing. My whole life I was being held back because I thought I couldn't find the one thing. Then I realized, oh, it's not one thing. Okay, but this is a huge part of what holds people back. You go to school, you get a job, you work for 40 years. Okay, old school mentality. Our grandparents, right? Back then, there were less options. If you lived in a town and you had a factory, you grew up, on your 21st birthday, you had a beer with your dad, you got a job at the factory, and you worked there. Maybe you went to school. Either way, everybody was going, they were either going to the factory or they're going to school, and then to get the job where they worked for 40 years. Like that was all people did. They just got that one job. So the mindset later in life for us, when we were taught how to live life, right? What were we taught? Especially millennials and on. What have we been taught? Well, you just got to find out what you want to do. You got to figure out where you want to go in life. You got to figure out what your purpose is. We've been reduced to one thing, but we don't live in a world where one thing exists anymore, do we? Right? There's more options now. There's things all over the internet. There's courses and schools and options. There's entrepreneurs and there's Kickstarter and there's startup companies and there's GoFundMe. I mean, people are getting to their dream life in any way imaginable. So it's not, we don't live in a world anymore where we're looking for that one thing, but we've been taught that you have to find that one thing. But we know there's more because we're seeing people do more. So the old way doesn't work like it used to. Right now, there's more options. And like I said, the fear of picking the wrong thing leads to doing nothing. So now that multiple options are now possible, it gets a little confusing because now we see it would almost be easier if we only had one thing in front of us. But now we have a million options every day being put in front of us. And that's what holds us back. That's what holds the majority of people back. 2, most people don't know how to use the power of wisdom. Okay? Current culture doesn't understand the value of learning from the past. Okay? We think I can do it all on my own. We have what's called the pretend expert syndrome. That's an official term that I coined, obviously, because I'm a medical professional, like I said earlier, with the picture in Haiti. Pretend expert syndrome This is where, tell me if you know anybody like this, or think of anybody you know like this. This is the person that reads one article about anything online, and when it comes up, all of a sudden they talk about it like they know what the hell they're talking about, right? Like they read one article about the rings inside oak trees, and then I don't know, randomly goes, "Man, I really like oak trees." And this person just goes, "You know what? I used to study oak trees, and here's what was interesting about oak trees." Right? And you go, "Man, what are you talking about? You read one article on the internet." So we've got this pretend expert syndrome. People have become so prideful with their pretend expert syndrome that they don't want to. It's almost like people are scared to be wrong about something or not know it, which is asinine, because there's always going to be something you don't know. But we've got this idea that, well, I have to know everything, and I can do it all on my own. And then, like, from there, it doesn't really go anywhere else, right? Because we bypass up opportunities, we pass up on mentorship, we don't really know what to. I mean, we don't know what to do anyways. We're lost. We're trying to find our purpose, so we could use some guidance and some help, but we're too busy trying to pretend like we know everything. And then, to make matters worse, anything that we do touch, anything that we do jump into, we don't actually ever learn all the information about it. Again, going back to the factory example, back then, when you worked at that factory for 40 years, you learned everything there was about working at that factory. And 30 years later, you got promoted to the factory supervisor, or you got a promotion, or you moved up the ladder. Okay, because you learned everything, because that's what you did all day long. The most successful people in the world do something at the best level. Okay, let's take a professional basketball player, for example. Let's just say LeBron James. I'm not a big, huge basketball fan. It's just the first name that popped into my head. But that dude knows everything there is to know about basketball. No matter how you cut it, he knows everything there is to know about basketball. He didn't play basketball once in his life and all of a sudden became as good as he is. No, he learned how to master it. He learned everything it is. So the reason a lot of people are failing right now is because they're not accepting wisdom. They're not willing to actually go all the way through to the finish line. And to add to that, there's constant distractions, which is a huge one. A huge, huge, huge problem right now. Unsuccessful people, people that can't find their purpose, people that never figure out their direction. This is guaranteed you'll find this in their life every single time. They'll find something that keeps their interest, right? If you've known these people that, oh, I'm starting this business, this is what I'm doing now. And then the next day, they're like, oh, here's my new business. And then the next day, they're like, no, this is my new business. And then the next day, they're like, no, this is another one. You're like, dude, you started like 6 businesses in the last 6 days. What are you doing? Oh, well, those other ones were whatever. They weren't for me. But this is the big one. And then next week, right, you keep getting the Facebook invites to the pages. Every time you see their name pop up, it's attached to a different company, a different idea, a different thing. It's just never the same thing. Constant distractions. They never stick it out and learn everything there is to know. They never follow through the finish line. So they never reach success. And then you know what they do? They blame everybody else. They blame the company. They blame the mentorship. They blame the leadership. They find all these reasons why it didn't work for them, because it's easier to just complain and move on to something else than it is to recognize, oh, I'm not living the fulfilled life because I refuse to follow through. I haven't gone all the way in. Okay? Refusing wisdom. It'll hold you back every time. 3, failure to understand the value of growth over time. And I just touched on that a little bit, but people get so impatient with the growth process, right? And I'll use the example of a seed. If you take a seed and you plant it right now, tomorrow when you wake up, there will not be a plant. And it would be stupid to get mad and say that seed must be broken. Oh, that seed didn't work. But this is how people think. It legitimately, like this is how they think, right? In our culture right now, especially millennials, what we're stuck with because of all the distractions that we have is we're impatient. We won't stick it out. We won't let the thing grow, for God's sake. We won't get in on the bottom floor. We won't get in and put in the work and the effort necessary to get something done. We get pissed when it doesn't do what it's supposed to, or what we think it's, and that's the other thing. We say it's supposed to do this, and maybe it's supposed to do something else. I don't know, but we won't let it, we won't find out. We never give it a chance. Okay, past generations, let's just say our parents' generation, even our parents' generation, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, okay? These generations were forced to grow, okay? They had war, they had depression, they had a lot of things. They were forced to move forward. They had to focus. They had to find one thing. Everybody had to pick a job. Everybody had to do something. We've never experienced anything like those generations have seen. Now, some of us have seen certain parts of that. And I'm not talking about war. I'm not talking about depression. I'm talking about economic downturn. Okay? But back then, they didn't bail the banks out. Okay? Back then, the entire country got in on the war. Everybody was a part of it. Everybody was building munitions. Everybody was working in the factories. Everybody was buying bonds. Everybody, right? The whole country was involved in the thing. So everybody was focused. Now, dude, half the people can't even tell you when the first war was. Half the people can't even tell you what happened in 2004 and the housing crisis. Most people can't even tell you. People don't even know what's going on. Okay? And what it creates is this need for a sense of purpose. We get so distracted and we get so stuck and we don't like moving forward. There's a difference between an actual purpose and a sense of purpose. Purpose is what you're supposed to be doing. Purpose is where your life direction is. Purpose is what you should be doing. Purpose is what it's that thing you were made for. It's that thing that just, once you align yourself with it, everything falls into place. Sense of purpose is the idea that you have found it, the idea that it makes sense. Oh, I started this new business and my first customer was a piece of cake. So this must be what I'm supposed to be doing. And so we just keep doing it. And then when it gets difficult, we go, oh, no, that's not for me. So we start trying something else, right? It's not actually aligned with our purpose. It's just that sense of purpose that we're craving. We want to feel like we're where we're supposed to be, okay? But I'll give you the mailroom example again, not wanting to start at the beginning. All right, if you want to be the CEO of a company, back in the day, you started at the mailroom. And still to this day, if you want to be the CEO of Coca-Cola, that's not a job you just go get. You can't apply for that. You have to work your way up to that. Now you might say, well, what about when they hire a new CEO? That guy just got the job right at the bat. Yeah, well, in his previous jobs, in his previous experience, in his previous work, he had to work his way up to be qualified to get that. So people want to be the top. They want to be the CEO, but they're not willing to start at the bottom. They're not willing to learn the information necessary to get to the top. Therefore, they never even get started. Therefore, they never even make it. Okay? Now, I understand this whole purpose discovery idea might not make a lot of sense to you yet, and that's okay. But tell you what, I'll give you a metaphor. Follow me here. And if you can understand this metaphor, then you can understand and do this entire purpose discovery model. And then you'll be able to explain this thing to anyone, whether it be your partner, your spouse, your business partner, whoever. And they'll understand what you're talking about if you understand this one metaphor. And it's the garden metaphor. Most people, when trying to figure out their purpose in life, experience similar circumstances to planting a garden. Okay, they know they want the ripe fruits and vegetables, so they go to the store and they see all the different kinds of seeds and pots and soils and shovels and plants and foods and gloves. Right? I'm not a gardener. But have you ever been to Home Depot or Walmart and you've seen the gardening section, right? There's tons of shit. There's stuff everywhere, okay? Hundreds of different options and possibilities staring them in the face. The whole thing can be confusing and overwhelming. Have you ever felt confused or lost when trying to decide where to go or what to do in life? So they do their own research and they try to learn how to garden on their own. That's what they do. They get overwhelmed and confused, so they try and figure it out on their own, hoping that they get the right seeds, hoping they get the right fertilizer, hoping they get the right tools and the right plant food. Then they have to water the plants every day, hoping it's the right amount of water, hoping the plants are getting the right amount of sunlight, hoping they're doing it all right since they've put all this work into this garden. And then days and weeks go by with very little progress or growth, so they continue doing what they think is right. Right? Still confused because there's so much information out there on what they should be doing. Is it even the right season for what they planted? Are they even in the right climate for what they planted? Each day their confidence diminishes and their doubt grows bigger and bigger. Should the crops have grown by now? Should I be expecting ripe fruit and vegetables by now? They work every day, unsure about whether or not they're even doing the right thing because they're trying to do it on their own, hoping that one day it'll all come together and all the effort will be worth it, literally crossing their fingers. and that the garden will produce some kind of yield and provide at least some kind of payoff for all of the work and effort that went into this garden. They're feeding this garden with their own time. They feed it with their own energy, their own money. They're using their own resources, and they don't even know if they're doing the right things. And it takes season after season after season after season to find out what works and what doesn't, right? Year after year. It takes years to really find out how this works. Years and years and years of trial and error it takes to hopefully get good at being a gardener. But I have a better idea. Instead, stop doing all of that hard work. Stop putting in the crazy days and weeks and months and years of crazy hard work, and let me place you here in a lush and already fruitful garden, already grown by the expert gardeners, full of ripe produce from the pros who have already spent the years of time to fine-tune this process. They've already found the right seeds. They already know the right fertilizers to use. They've already dug the ground and created the rows and filled all the pots with the right dirt. They've already watered the plants every day and made sure the climate was right and the sunlight was right. And instead, the Purpose Discovery Series allows me to give you this basket that you can take into this rich, lush garden, and all you have to do is walk into this beautiful garden and the produce is all yours. You get to skip the years of toiling and backbreaking work and simply enjoy the right stuff. All you have to do is follow along with the training inside the Purpose Discovery Series that you're going to learn today, training that's already done for you, and simply apply it to your own life. That's it. Okay? Now we're about to dive into some of that fresh purpose training, right? Did you get the metaphor, by the way? Did that make sense? Like I said, if you can understand that, why work for years and years and years to try and figure this stuff out when it's already been figured out? That's what the Purpose Discovery Series is. That's where you're at. That's what the training you're about to go through is for. So you don't have to go through all that garbage, all those years of toil like I did. I already went through that so that you don't have to now. Okay, now we're about to dive into some of this training. But first, let me explain exactly how this is going to help you. 1, why do I need to discover my purpose? Okay, well, no more wandering around aimlessly. No more wasting time. No more trying things and being left unfulfilled. How many times have you tried something, right? You got the new promotion in work, or you got the new car, or you bought the new house, or you had the new baby, or you met the new boyfriend or girlfriend, or you went to the new bar, or whatever it was, you tried the new diet, and it just never fulfilled you. You thought it was going to be all these things, but it never fulfilled you. That's a purpose problem. Okay? Finding your purpose takes the guesswork out of what you should be doing and allows you to more easily make necessary changes. That's why you need to discover your purpose. It provides a sense of fulfillment that you've been searching for on your own all these years. Okay? You owe it to your purpose. You owe it to who you really are. You owe it to your dreams to learn how to do this. 2, what do I need to do to succeed at finding my purpose? Like I said, it's not just about finding your purpose, but it's about succeeding. It's about actually getting it done. Well, the first thing you need to do to successfully find your purpose is 1, discover your true self. You got to find out who you actually are. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Next is create a clear destination for yourself. Well, how the heck do you do that? I'm going to show you. And then create a purpose-rich environment for yourself that feeds your purpose and keeps you on target. Now, what the heck is a purpose-rich environment? It's an environment that you can customize and create for yourself that makes sure that your purpose becomes a reality. And it's an incredibly powerful tool, and I'm about to show you how to do that. Next, how do I ensure that I actually accomplish the fulfilled life that I obviously want? 2 ways. 1, you allow an expert to guide you through the learning and application of each purpose indicator. Next, learn and apply the mandatory purpose indicators that all purpose-driven people know. This is simply the stuff that everybody who's ever found their purpose, this is simply the stuff that they know. So you're going to allow an expert to guide you through the process, and then you're going to learn and apply those indicators, the same ones that all purpose-driven people know. Okay. The last, like I said, 10 years, I had the thrill of doing what I loved and what I was passionate about. Okay. But while I was out living my fulfilled life, I struggled because most of my friends and family were struggling with not living their fulfilled lives. Okay. I learned how to discover my purpose and live my dreams for 10 years, but I lived it by myself because nobody else that I knew could join me on a trip or get out of town last minute, or they were always miserable and talked about how bad things were. And it hurt me to watch them not know how to fix it. I almost felt bad for enjoying my life so much because I knew how to help myself, but I didn't know how to teach the information. I knew what I did, but I didn't really know how to share it. I had this message and this purpose to help others live their fulfilled life, but I didn't know how to put it out into the world. So I just ignored it. I was living my dreams, but my purpose was to help others discover their purpose and learn to live their dreams. So no matter how good my life was, I was always disconnected from my true self and true purpose because I wasn't sharing it. I wasn't doing my purpose. And that led to a severe depression and unhappiness. Okay, I was living a great life, but I suffered from extreme loneliness and guilt. I was by myself all the time, and I felt bad that I couldn't really help anybody, people I loved. I had no one I could relate to. Okay. By mid-2015, I decided I owed it to myself, my message, and most importantly, the people around me to figure out exactly how to help people do this. Okay? It wasn't that long ago, but I dedicated myself to doing it. Okay, you get to this point where you know you're made for something bigger. Have you ever felt that? You get frustrated and you get to that point and you go, man, I know that I'm made for more than this. And you become almost desperate to find out what your purpose is in life. Have you ever felt that way? So I accepted the help of those smarter than myself. I finally gave in and I said, fine, teach me. And together we began developing a system that you can easily follow and apply that would show you exactly what to do to discover your purpose and succeed at it. And now I just have one question for you. Okay? Can you find your purpose and direction by yourself? Can you find your purpose and direction by yourself? Now let me challenge you by saying this. If you could, you would have already done it, wouldn't you? But no one blames you, and I don't think it's your fault. There are more distractions and confusions out there than there is help. Okay? And it's time for you to link arms with a partner who can help you. My name's Caleb Wayne. And I'm going to show you real quick. I'm just going to show you a little bit of my fulfilled life. Okay. This is actually, I'm just going to randomly, I threw these in here just to give you an idea of what my life has looked like the last 10 years so that you can understand how incredible this journey has been. They're not really in a particular order. There's not any stories I'm really going to tell here, but I'm just going to kind of go down through this stuff. This was a trip up to San Luis Obispo a few years back. My buddy Chris right there in the middle was getting married. So this is our crew, part of our crew, all up there. This is the Haiti crew again. We went to Haiti for a month and a half. And again, at the drop of a hat, we went out there to help. And that was the point, was that we could just go because we were able to. We just get up and head out there. These are the kids. This is actually inside the orphanage. They loved to do this. Anytime you got in that wheelchair, it was just pile on, pile on. We did this, I can't even, hours. If any of you have little ones, you know what I mean. When they think of something fun, when something's funny, right? Like they just don't leave it alone. And we did this for days. This was up in Portland. Actually, that's Zach on the far left. That's his wife, Sabrina. This is just us goofing around. I ended up staying in Portland for a while. Lived up there with these guys just because I could, right? Just relocated, had some fun. Loved it up there. This is on the bridge right there in Portland. Just checking stuff out. This was a camping trip a few years ago. Fishing is one of my favorite things to do. Even when I don't catch fish, it's just nice I love being outside. So this was just chilling, right? Again, just because we could, went out there and spent a week out there, fished and hung out. It actually rained crazy, flooded our tents. A lot of fun, big adventure. This is more Portland. There we are on the boat. Spent a lot of time on this boat. A lot of time we're just wakeboarding, and then Mount Hood is up there, so we'd go snowboarding, wakeboarding, the whole nine. This was a birthday party a few years back. This is that dinosaur. If you guys seen Pee Wee Herman, this is that dinosaur. Just trips. I grew up in Phoenix, so gosh, I spent a lot of time in California. That's me in a fedora. I I don't recommend wearing fedoras. I don't know why I did. I apologize for that. Let's see. This is more of the camping trip. Oh, shooting, huge in our family. This is down in Texas, down here. That's my sister, my brother-in-law, my pops. We shoot a lot. Love it. A lot of fun. This is down in Rocky Point, Mexico. Took a trip down there to build some houses for some families and hang out and enjoyed that. This was right there on the water, right in Rocky Point. Over to our left, you can't see in the picture obviously, but over to the left is where all the resorts and stuff are at. Super beautiful area. There's some more shooting with the family. That's out in Phoenix, Arizona, where I'm originally from. This is more some camping trip. That's pretty much defines my relationship with my sister. Always goofing with that. This was a trip we took. It's one of my favorite sushi spots out in California. This was actually up northern. This was up in the Bay, out in San Francisco, Sunnyvale, Palo Alto area. Stuff. Palo Alto, is that close? Anyways, Sunnyvale area, which is by San Jose. Eating sushi up there. It's very important that you see this one. If you ever meet me in real life and you have something to light on fire, I will light it on fire, like guaranteed. I love blowing stuff up, and I love lighting stuff on fire. And I've been able to do that the last 10 years. Whatever, it's cool. Probably not safe, but I do light stuff on fire. It's fun. This is another picture of our crew, some of our crew. Again, just it's a little bit wild, gets a little fun. But again, this whole crew is able to just go up, hang out. Grew up with most of these guys. Fun times. Here's some pictures. I don't know how many are in here, but this is just tattooing. This is a crew, the Nashville crew. I lived in Nashville for a couple years, and this is part of our crew looking tough with our guns and hanging out in the shop. Great group, guys. Had a blast out there doing that. This is me and my brother. Dove hunting starts every season in September, so we go dove hunting. No, I did not bite the head off that dove. Sorry if you're all animal. Ooh, this was a fun one. This was out in California. We went out there and snuck into a Manchester Orchestra concert. We made a bet to see if we could get in, and we did. And look how close we got. It was like right in the rafters, like right over. Super, super awesome. Super good show. And understand, guys, purpose. I'm not showing this stuff to impress anybody, just to impress upon you. Like, there really is freedom in finding your purpose. Life just opens up. There's an incredible amount of things you can do. This is me and my cousin. We went out on this little buggy that his uncle had. You know, we spent the day just buggying around. We actually ran out of gas, which was funny. We went on this old abandoned housing lot. Just ramped it around. We had a great time. A lot of fun. Super hot that day. But again, just able to go out there and do that. This life has provided me a lot of really cool things. I don't know if anybody follows hip hop out there. This is my dude Yellow Wolf. Rapper out of Gadsden, Alabama. And I got the chance to get to know him, and this is us. This is tattooing these guys in their green room while they were on tour. Again, just cool stuff that's happened as a result of finding my purpose and then building a life around it. Here we are back in Haiti. You all know how that worked out. This is a dude up in Alaska. I got to go up to Alaska for a while, hang out there. This is the same dude I was in the Bay Area with. This is us in Vegas, hanging out. We fish a lot. That's 9 big catfish right there we caught in one day. Super fun. Shooting range, this is back up in Alaska. My buddies up there, they're all in the Air Force. And I go up there often and tattoo and hang out. We check stuff out. We got to go to the air show. So they're all infantry. So we got to go to the air show, check that out. This is us. One of the biggest planes I've ever been inside. It was crazy. Super cool. We got to go check that out. This is a hotel that's in the mountains. It's the ski lodge. If you ever go to Anchorage, Alaska, this is the ski lodge up there. Super worth it. Beautiful, beautiful area. Check it out. This is the day we went to ride these guys around. And it looks like a fun picture. We had a blast that day, but we actually had to cut home early because it was so cold. We couldn't feel our feet. Couldn't feel our feet in our hands. It was actually getting hard to drive the buggies. But again, beautiful. It's just all this stuff has been afforded because I just learned what to do to find my purpose, right? And when you find that purpose, you can go and do the things you love to do. You can build a life around the stuff that you want to do. Yep, there's the same show one. Oh, this is cool. This is an overlook in, this is Malibu. I spent some time out there. this overlook that's Malibu Beach down there. Just again, just enjoying being out and about, traveling all over, having a really fun time. Okay, and as a result of learning how to find my purpose and direction, okay, just to add, now all that stuff is cool, but as a result of all this, one of my biggest dreams ever actually came true. Okay, and that is living in New York City. I always had this dream of living there, always. Super, super, super crazy. Never thought that this would happen. I mean, really, I told you earlier, I never thought I'd find my purpose. I never thought that I would actually find that sweet spot, that place. So when I found it, and then years later, it resulted in this, like it really, I can't tell you how grateful I am. Like it's not, again, it surprises me to look back and think, my goodness, like we actually, like I got to do this stuff. That's me in front of the World Trade building, the new one that's out there in New York, just goofing around out with some friends one night. You know what I mean? No agenda, no schedule, just out there living, tattooing, having fun, hanging out, loving it. This is a random girl on the subway. Screwing with her, finally got her to laugh. Good time. This is our New York crew. The blonde up in the top left corner, actually, is her shop that we all worked at out in New York. Girl by the name of Megan Massacre. Very, very popular tattooer, incredible crew. And just a blast, just literally just having a good time, loving working out there. The shop was called Grit and Glory, out on the Lower East Side. Just everything we did out there, it was just, like I said, it was a dream come true, and I couldn't believe that it was actually happening. That's me and James down there at the bottom. Okay, so when I say, if I can live a fulfilled life around my purpose, then you definitely can, because mine kind of just happened on accident, right? And I guarantee you're smarter than me, and I really mean that, because I promise you, you're smarter than me. All you need is a roadmap to get there. That's it. So let's break this down. Let's break down how it all works. Okay, the first thing that has to happen is you have to be honest with yourself. Super, super crucial. To find your purpose, find yourself. Write that down. Oh, and by the way, you're going to need a pen and a paper. So if you're watching this right now and I'm not much for professional presentations, so I just kind of wing it a lot. But either way, pen and paper, grab some because you're going to need it. You're going to need to take notes. But to find yourself, to find your purpose, find yourself. You have to know what you really want, and you can't know that unless you really know who you are. Okay, so you have to know what you really want and who you really are. Here's how you do that. Most people have two versions of themselves. Okay, identity number one. This is the identity that they walk around in every day. Okay, it's called this, what I call the shell identity, right? Or I'm a server. Okay, this is who you think you are. So if you're a banker or a real estate agent or a tattoo artist or a server or a grocery bagger or a landscaper or a babysitter, right? This is the shell identity. So when people go, oh, like, who is that person? Or who are you? Oh, I'm this, right? This is who we think we are. Okay? Identity number two is the identity that they really want in life, okay? This is the version of themselves that they daydream about. And this is what I call the true identity, and I consider it to actually be our real identity, okay? Everyone's true identity is being held hostage by circumstance and a lack of knowledge. Write that down. Everyone's true identity. And I set this up real quick, by the way, to where you can pause it. I know sometimes trainings, they don't actually allow that, so you just keep listening. But I want you to be able to get some of the, get all of this stuff. So if you get to a point where you got to go do something else, you can pause this training and come back to it. Either way, you can hit that pause button. So if I ever am moving too fast, just go back to where you were, pause it, get all this good gold nugget stuff. But everyone's true identity is being held back hostage by these two things, circumstance and a lack of knowledge. Okay, here's an example of circumstance. Steve the server, right, his shell identity, Steve the server daydreams about being a playboy millionaire living the good life in the penthouses and parties of Las Vegas. But Steve's true identity is being held hostage by the circumstance of having no money. So he never actually gets to do it or get there, right? He's a server. What he really wants to do is go just be a playboy millionaire and live the good life. but it's being held hostage. He can't actually get to that because of his circumstance of having no money. Right? Have you ever experienced that? I know I had. Okay, here's a knowledge example. Most people never sit around and really think about their true identity. Everyone's worried about that shell identity. Okay, so here's the example. Steve sits around and thinks about the new car he wants or the big house he wants. But those are just things and not really related to who Steve is because Steve has no knowledge of who he is. Okay, so cars, houses, money, vacations, we want to look important, we want to have all this stuff. But those are just things, but they're not related to who we are because we've never actually uncovered who we are. So because we don't know who we are, we're busy chasing things that don't relate to who we are. They're actually not about who we are. So we're chasing the things that we think we need, and we keep operating out of this shell identity. Why do you think we stay empty all the time? Why do you think it's so hard to find a fulfilled life? Well, when you're chasing the wrong things, it's almost guaranteed that will happen. Okay? While Steve spends all his time thinking about the stuff he wants, he therefore becomes desperate to try anything and everything that will provide the right circumstance to provide those things. Let me break that down. Steve spends all his time thinking about stuff. He wants more money, he wants the house, he wants the cars. So he gets desperate, and he'll try anything that will get him those cars and those houses. So it's not about finding purpose in life. Steve just goes, I don't care. Give me the job that pays me more money. Give me the business that makes me the most money. Show me how to do this. Show me the way. It doesn't matter what it is. Just help me get more stuff. So he gives his life to trying all this different stuff. But then once he gets the car and he gets the houses, let's say he gets there. And a lot of people will. But let's say he actually gets there. Well, then it doesn't fulfill him and it doesn't make him happy because not only is the method and the direction not lined up with his purpose, but neither is the stuff. The stuff he got isn't directed. It's not related to his actual purpose, his true self. So he's double disappointed in the end. But because he doesn't really know who he is, right? Although he might find a way to acquire the things he wants, like I said, Steve's never going to be able to acquire enough stuff to truly be happy because nothing he does is aligned with his true identity. This is why we see mega wealthy people who end up miserable and chronically unhappy. Anyone can go get rich and get the stuff they want, but very few take the time to learn the knowledge of who they truly are. Circumstance and lack of knowledge. It's also why you find incredibly happy people who are very in tune with who they are and often don't need a ton of useless stuff to be happy and fulfilled. Okay, their knowledge and their circumstances align with who they really are. And as a result, their purpose and direction remains crystal clear. Okay, being honest with yourself about who you really are and what you really want allows you to identify where you need to go. And then you can decide which direction you prefer to take to get there. But this is impossible without being honest with yourself. And a lot of people don't like to look in the mirror. Okay, my start, where I came from, was, and again, there's a lot of people that it's easy to look at somebody who's found their purpose and is living this cool life and go, well, I don't have this or I don't have that. So it's easy for you to say that, but I don't have what you have, or I don't have it. Guys, I came from very humble beginnings and had, I don't know why this says many luxuries. I had no luxuries growing up. I had food in my belly, which, okay, I get it. Grand scheme of things, very, very luxury. I mean, very blessed, very lucky to have had that. But I didn't have much growing up. I spent years thinking that fulfillment and happiness would come from having money and nice things. So when we talk about Steve wanting all that stuff, I used to think the same way. I used to think the same exact way. So I was always trying to start some sort of business, anything that anyone put in front of me and said I could make money with, which led me to years of failing in business because I just wanted the money. I had to try to convince everyone all the time to buy my stuff, and it just never seemed to work because I was forcing it for the wrong reasons. And on the other hand, right, on one hand, I got business. I'm trying to force everybody to believe me. I'm going, yeah, no, buy this product, join this opportunity, whatever the bullshit was that I was telling. All I wanted was the money because I thought that the things would make me happy and fulfill me. But I didn't really know my true self. On the other hand, I had been an artist my whole life. And not just a wannabe artist. I was a damn good artist. And I was actually always passionate about art. I'm going to share some of that with you just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Anytime I touched art, it just flowed and came naturally. Okay, so one day I decided to stop forcing things. I learned, right, this was back when I went through the 29, I figured and discovered the 29 purpose indicators. I learned how to identify my purpose and my direction options, and I quit my job to become a tattoo artist. Now, I'm not saying quit your job to become a tattoo artist. In fact, I highly suggest not doing that, because being a tattoo artist is not as it's not all glitz and glam and supermodels and fun town. There's definitely a lot more dark underbelly of actual hard work. God forbid. Not as easy to think. It took a lifetime to figure it out, but that's what I did. I quit my job to become a tattoo artist, and immediately, and I mean immediately, things started falling into place. Okay, when you align with your purpose, things start falling into place. Almost instantly, people started lining up to get work done by me. And I never once had to convince anyone of what I was doing, ever. Okay, the more I became honest with myself and moved towards the gifts and talents I obviously had, life became effortless. Instead of trying to do all this new shit and force it and convince people that I was some businessman or whatever, I just started doing the stuff that I was already good at. I found my purpose. I picked the direction. I went strongly in that direction. And things just started to flow. Things started happening. So here's just some examples, just my tattoo work. Like I said, I'll show you. Have I mentioned my Instagram earlier. This is all just stuff that's on my Instagram. I just picked some stuff off of there. This says Midwest. I actually became the #1 script tattooer in Phoenix, Arizona. I was the premier script tattooer out there. Actually, in the whole state of Arizona, this was my thing. I grew up doing graffiti, and then years later became a script tattooer. But all of this stuff, guys, is a result of me just going for it, right? Putting in the time, putting in the work, putting in the effort. That was a freehand piece I did on my buddy's shoulder there. And again, you can see all this stuff on my Instagram, so I didn't just pull it off Google. People do that. People still just pull stuff off Google and be like, yo, I did this. I think they do. Anyways, this one I did out in New York. It's a map of Hudson River and all that. Here's some more script, freehand script done on a chest. No idea what it says. El destino no significa nada sin el viaje. Anyways, whatever. A little risque, but some pretty flowers. Blessed, more script. Good old traditional work. Roses and reapers and daggers. This is a cool one. This dude's a chef. Just put all this fun stuff on him. It's my sister-in-law's, actually. It's her shoulder. My buddy Justin. Stuff on him. Oh, this one was fun. This is a colored pencil I drew. Sorry for the fuzzy quality. The picture, the file is huge, so I had to crank it down, but you kind of get the idea. You'll see there it says Hale back in 2003. This was done my junior year of high school. This was colored pencil. The thing is massive. It still hangs on my mom's office wall from all the way back then. It's kind of fun to look back at this stuff. It's just super, super cool. There's a hand I did. Actually, this dude still flies out to get work done by me. He just recently flew out. I visited Phoenix. He came all the way to Phoenix from San Francisco to get a leg sleeve started. Don Henry, some more script. Some pocket watch, more roses. Here's a ship. That was a fun one. So you get the idea. Polynesian work. This is a lot of years in the making. I mean, you're looking at the result of. I didn't start out like this, mind you. I mean, I'm grateful to be able to tattoo well and have fun with all this stuff, but this was not. Gosh, I wish I had pictures of the stuff I did when I first started, because it was garbage. It was awful. But again, I was following my purpose. I was aligning my life with my purpose. And it just started to blow up, and people started to come to me, and they started to ask me for it. And I started to learn, and I started to get better. It's a fun chess piece. So my friend Kristen, she actually owns one of the shops that I worked at in New York City, out in Queens. This is one I recently did. We didn't finish this cover up on this girl. There's me actually working on that cover up. Out at my buddy's shop in Austin, Texas. It's just a few to kind of, because some people get weird and they're like, oh, that's not you that's doing that work. Well, here I am doing the work. That's in Nashville, Tennessee. back out in New York. Okay. And I don't mean to show you any of this to show off in any sort of way. Like I said, I just want to show you that it's actually possible. In fact, you might think my work is total garbage, right? You might have looked at any of that and just gone, ew, this is garbage. That's fine too. But I simply want to impress upon you that if I can live my fulfilled life, then so can you. Okay. And once we get in touch with our true self, this stuff just happens. Life happens with ease. It starts working. Okay. Think of Mother Teresa. Did she have to convince people of what she did? Did you ever look at Mother Teresa and go, what a joker? Right? What a salesman. What a shady salesman. You never thought that about her, ever. Okay? Did people question her or doubt her work helping those in need? Never. People, in fact, came from all over the world and donated incredible amounts of resources, money, time, volunteer work, whatever she needed, to that ministry out there in Calcutta, in India. All over the world they came to serve with her. And check that out. In the end, the church made her a saint. That's, you've done something right when at the end the church just goes, hey, let's put you up there with all the other old guys crushing it. Okay? Because she really knew who she was. That's why that all worked. That's why she was so effective. And out of that honesty and self-knowledge came a purpose and an influence that just happens naturally. Like you don't have to do anything, it just happens when you align with your purpose. Anytime we're not lined up with who we really are, we spend most of our time convincing ourselves and others of who we think we are and what we do, when instead we can learn the right things to do to discover who we are and effortlessly fall into our true purpose and direction, which leads to real fulfillment. You can harness the power of your subconscious mind to work for you if you will take the time to really find out who you are. Now, I know I've mentioned the word subconscious there. Okay, I have to warn you, I'm not a self-help guru. I have no formal education in the world of teaching you how your brain works and functions and fires, and I am no new age scientist weirdo. I don't know how the subconscious works. I just know that it can work for you. So just heads up warning, some of this might seem a little kooky, but bear with me because it's effective and it works. And whatever, you might think I'm weird at the end of this. But like I said, you can harness that power of your subconscious. And a lot of people's subconscious works against them. And there's a way to change that, to make sure that your subconscious works for you. But you got to take the time to really find out who you are. Okay? With proper guidance, your subconscious really can create a new, true identity for you. Right? Like it rewires the whole thing. And this identity is what will drive your purpose and help you uncover the direction or directions you should or can go. Okay? And today you're going to learn how to do this. So step 1, discover your true self. Okay? Our deepest desires give us clues to our true self. Now you're most likely thinking about material desires, but that's not what I mean. Okay? I'm talking about real desires. Okay? I mean, why are you here right now in this moment with me, going through this training? Why did you click on the link that brought you here? Okay, true desire. Something triggered in you that said, I want to know that thing. I want to learn that. That's what we're going to identify. Okay, was it killing time? Curiosity? You want to be happier? Tired of how your life has been? You want true fulfillment? Okay, you have to decide to what end are you going to learn this? Are you going to do this for yourself? Now, here's a hint. Your brain is actually going to lie to you, right? It's kind of crazy that we're just wired that way. Initially, your brain will naturally come up with surface reasons as to what you hope will come about as a result of this training. Okay? But the truth is, we all simply want to create and perpetuate experiences. Okay? Goals actually don't matter in the context of true identity. That might be confusing, but I'll explain it. But goals aren't as important as finding true identity. Here's an example. Ferrari. Now, I'm not a big car guy. I like the classics, but whatever. A lot of people look at Ferraris and they go, oh, that person must be successful. I mean, you can lease them for like $1,200 a month and have no money. Anyways, so Ferrari example, we don't really want the Ferrari. What we really want is to feel like a superstar or a world famous spy. We want to look like James Bond, or we want to look important when we pull up to valet outside of the nightclub. Okay? We don't want the Ferrari. What we want is the significance that the Ferrari will bring us. Okay? But here's the deal. There's not a single sports car in the entire world that upon buying it just magically makes you cooler or an expert at karate like James Bond is, right? It just doesn't happen. You get a temporary high and a feeling of being better. But that's shell identity. Remember, we talked about that. Okay, we want the experience of these things. Or how about this social media example? How about wanting to be popular and get a ton of followers on social media? Okay, when I was heavy into my tattoo career, I wanted to get as many followers on my Instagram as I could, and I actually told myself it was because I wanted to market my business. Okay? Truth is, I loved the rush. Okay, I really did. It was like a drug to me. I loved the rush of being seen, and I enjoyed the idea of feeling known. So what I thought was, oh, I'm just marketing my business. The bottom issue, the reality for me is, actually, I like to know that people are noticing me, right? Don't we all want that? Don't we all want to be seen, be known, noticed? Okay, although I did get a lot of business from learning how to market on Instagram, okay, I'm still over here waiting for it to make me cooler, because that definitely didn't work. Followers kept going up, cool level just kept going down. All these years later, still not the cool guy. But in a moment, I'm going to show you a very powerful exercise that changed my life. Okay? And I wrote this here, which is weird for me to say. Anytime I hear anybody say, "Oh, this ain't changed my life. Oh, this juice is going to change your life. This product is going to change," I always get a little bit skeptical. So I don't mean that on some like hyped up way, but for real, the exercise I'm going to show you literally is what changed my life. Like, it is what helped me discover my purpose, helped me pick my direction, and it was a part of what helped me ensure that I actually got there. Like, for real, this is the exercise. So not some kind of fluffy change my life. It's skeptical. I'm such a critic anyway. So when people are like, "No, it'll change your life," I'm like, "Cool, shove it, whatever. I'll find out." But for real, that's just kind of heads up on that. But this exercise will immediately provide focus, direction, and it will literally lead you to replacing your shell identity with the real you. Pretty cool, huh? The reason it works is because it will force your brain to turn off the bullshit and all the glamored up images that our brains create. Right? Also known as the beer commercial. Right? Turns it all off, and it actually gets down to what's real. Okay? When you live and operate from this true place, you're centered, you're stable, you're focused, you're able to go where it is you need to go. And this full clarity begins to magnetically attract similar things to your true self and causes you to be exponentially and effortlessly more effective. Did I just say effortlessly? Anyways, effortlessly more effective, directed, and influential. Right? It literally starts to attract those things. So do you think I'm insane yet? Okay? And it's okay if the answer is yes, because you're probably right, but just bear with me. But let me ask you this question. Okay? Is your idea of a happy and fulfilled life one where you live and make money and have friends and family and acquaintances and customers that are completely different than you and that you don't really like? Is that your idea of a happy and fulfilled life? A lot of money, but surrounded by a bunch of people you just don't like, doing things you hate. Does that sound like happy and fulfilled? Absolutely not, right? That shit sounds miserable. And trust me, it is. Now, wouldn't it be fun to build a life and make money and have friends and family and acquaintances and customers and whatever else that are totally awesome, that you genuinely like and that genuinely like you? Right? Imagine that, making good money, living inside your purpose. You love your job. You love your work, whatever it is you do. Maybe you don't work. Maybe you just got a bunch of money and you travel the world with your best friends or your family or your significant other, your partner, whoever it is. Right? Doesn't that sound a little bit more fun? That's what I mean when I say you magnetically attract similar things. Okay? When you operate out of your true self, you begin to recognize similar purpose in other people. And other people begin to automatically sense it in you as well as they attract to you. Plus, you just might stumble into a new and better reality and experience the following. Oh, actually, hey, real quick, does this sound super weird to you yet? Because it definitely did to me. That I'm serious. I get a little nervous sometimes when people start talking about this stuff. So really don't feel bad if it sounds weird and hokey at the moment, because it did to me at first. And I want to paint a picture for you real quick. But you have to promise not to laugh or think me pathetic. I'll get back to what I was talking about, but I forgot to paint this picture earlier, so I put it in here. Here's who I was before going through this exact process. Okay. I was a successful tattoo business owner. I ran one. I had a ton of followers on social media. Okay. I was an authority and expert in my market. I was the best and most sought after. Okay. In my tattoo niche. I talked about the script earlier when we were looking at pictures. I've traveled all over whenever I wanted to. I had time freedom. I went to bed when I wanted. Woke up when I was done sleeping. I had a ton of friends. I knew all the right people. Life was good. I had more clients than I knew what to do with. I lived in all my favorite cities: Phoenix, Portland, Nashville, New York City. Okay, my biggest dilemma at the time, actually, at that point, was which city should I live in? Right? I really could have just gone to any city. That was my, turns out that was my biggest dilemma. Okay. Does that sound like a bad life or a good life? It should sound like a good life, but I was absolutely miserable. Okay. One of the worst feelings a person can have is to strive your whole life for a goal, attain it, and then realize it doesn't make you happy at all. Okay. But then I went through this process and was forced to look at my personal reflection of total misery. Here's the reality. I was attracting the wrong clients. I built my business the wrong way. I was constantly around the wrong people, working for the wrong stuff, doing all the wrong things. Okay. And I sabotaged a lot of great opportunities because I didn't want to give up what I thought made me cool. So I stayed in and around my false happiness, hoping I would get happier if I could just get a little bit further and have a little bit more. Okay. I made money to buy things, all those surface goals, new clothes and cars and this and that. And then I worried about all the stuff I had all the time. All right, have you ever had that? Where you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a whole bunch of whatever, and then you do really well, and you get all this stuff, and then you're worried about losing it. So I would get this stuff, and then I'd be anxious about losing it and not having it anymore. Right? I was constantly living in a state of anxiety. A lot of heavy drinking, never sleeping, angry at everything. My relationship sucked. I mean, for real, I would get done tattooing, and I would just go to the bar where my friends were bartenders. Right? Absolutely miserable. Then my 24-month transformation happened. Okay. Back in 2015, I did this exercise that you're about to do. I made the decision to go for more. And I needed to find purpose and direction again. Because I used to have it. I know what it was like. So I went back through this exercise. Back in 2015, I went back through the exercise and decided to get back to something bigger and better. And kind of here's the process, okay? Early 2015, I get back to what matters. I discover my true self again. I decided to live life helping others find their purpose and build a life around their passions. I'd done it for 10 years. Mid 2015, pack up, moved to Nashville, Tennessee. I started pouring my gifts and my talents into helping others while getting back to enjoying tattooing again. Beginning of 2016, my dreams come true, and I moved to New York City to do some business consulting. I moved my tattooing to the Lower East Side at a shop owned by the most famous female tattooer in the world. At the time, she still is. Had incredible fun there. It was such a good time. Mid 2016, I'm done in New York City. I moved back to Nashville. And then in late 2016, I visit my family in Texas, who I'd actually been away from for years. Okay, I hadn't seen my family. I'd seen them here and there, but hadn't really made family a priority. And so I went and visited them for my brother's birthday. And in my free time, I started mapping out exactly how I was going to teach people to find purpose like I had done. Late 2016, just never left Texas. Like, that's really what happened. I was only supposed to be in Texas for 3 days. And then in the process, I was mapping this thing out, this purpose, this process, this everything you're learning today. I was just mapping that stuff out. And then I got to Texas, got around my family. We went golfing for my brother's birthday. Got to fishing, got to hunting. And I thought, man, you know what? This is where I want to be. So I just never left Texas. Moved my stuff to Texas. I still tattooed. Okay, but upon finding so many people desperate to find their purpose, again, I was getting asked this still all the time. For 10 years, people have asked, man, how'd you do it? How'd you build it? So after finding all those people, I decided to create the Purpose Discovery Series. Okay. And then I launched the Purpose Discovery Series monthly training. And I now help people from the West Coast all the way to Nigeria. Like, no joke, some dude in Nigeria wanted to find his purpose, which I think is awesome. The end result, I get to create content all day that helps people win. That's it. I hunt, I fish with my dad and my brother. We have family game night at least once a week. I get to goof off and play and smile and have fun. Like, I got my life back, guys. It's incredible. So maybe that's the position you're in. Maybe you're in a position where you did have things were good, but then you lost it, slipped away. And you need to figure out how to get back to that place, or you need to rediscover it. This same exercise is going to work for that as well. I wake up happy again. I go to bed happy again. I enjoy the little things again. I love seeing people win. I love it. Okay? Now, before we begin, let's agree that goals and things are irrelevant. Okay? We know that our brain tries to convince our subconscious that these dumb and trivial things actually matter. Okay? This creates this internal struggle that completely inhibits your ability to get anywhere at all, really. Like, for example, it would be very difficult to sell people on the idea of getting healthy and being a nice person when really you just want to go to Vegas and party with hookers and blow. Right? It's an extreme example, but you see why that would be so conflicting. Right? It's like two completely different people. Okay? The trick is to align your brain and subconscious, which we're about to do. And unfortunately, this ends the weird and new agey part of today's training, right? We talked about the subconscious and some of these ideas of what we're going to do. Luckily, that's over, so it shouldn't get too much weirder. Well, actually, it kind of does, but that takes care of the brain stuff. Okay, so now that we've got this idea, being honest about where you're at, being honest about where you want to go, being honest about what you want to do, we're actually going to get into, I'm going to show you how to break that all down. It's a very specific exercise that's going to help you do each of those things. Okay, and again, step one, we're going to discover our true self. So we're literally about to discover our true self. Okay, and we're going to dive into the application part in video number 2 on how it actually works. So fire up video number 2, and let's get this thing lit on fire and rocking.